Welcome to Leveraging Nordic Gaming, innovation at the affiliate level, stroke at the operator level. To get everybody covered there, apologies for the typo of the of. Welcome to the panel Elaine Gardner, Head of Affiliates at Global Gaming Affiliates, Ohad Narkis, co-founder of PlayOjo, Liverpool fan, and so hence the bags under his eyes from last night's celebrations. And Philip, I apologise, but I really would need you to speak your surname, but you're a senior affiliates manager at videoslots.com. Innovation. We'll start off. As you know, I did a report on for earlier in the day, asked a few questions with regard to innovation, particularly in the Swedish market. And one of the people I spoke to mentioned that the culture of innovation in terms of Swedish business generally goes back to some very famous names like Nobel, AGA, Ericsson, Volvo and IKEA, and obviously going all the way to Spotify now. Can somebody explain, potentially you, Philip, from the off, can somebody explain what it is about the Swedish culture that you think has influenced the degree of innovation in gaming? Yeah, there's a microphone there.
Yeah, so I think that why Sweden is so good and when it comes to iGaming is that the Swedish market is essentially brought up with such technology, entertainment online has been something that we've done very early, apart from having very good wages in the whole Nordic region. And that transitions very well into iGaming, because essentially what it is entertainment online. iGaming online is entertainment online. So the transition from one to another it's a very close step. And so Sweden like that is very susceptible to gaming online as such.
Yeah. One thing that somebody said to me a while back was if you want to find out about what's going on with Swedish casino operators, you need to head to Malta. Has the culture of Swedish innovation, do you think that's transferred to Malta en masse? Is that what happened there, Elaine?
I mean, we do have a lot of Nordic operators in Malta, as you mentioned, and some of the bigger names are from the Nordics. We've got NetEnt, Idrissel, especially for slot providers. But does Malta have something to do with it specifically? I don't know. I can't say.
I mean, it's obviously there is the issue with innovation and Sweden and the lack of regulation up to this point. Do you think that the lack of regulation and the fact that people have been able to travel potentially to offshore centres such as Malta, has that aided innovation in the sector, or do you think, or has it hindered it? And what do you think will happen once you have new rules brought in?
So I'm not sure that the lack of regulation hindered or encourage innovation. I think when I look at innovation over the years in our industry, there's a few big factors that basically promote innovation. It's market saturation and competition in the market, and the two don't always go hand in hand. You can look. I can tell you from my own personal experience, having worked for PokerStars, many years ago, and for many years, company dominated the industry. There wasn't an issue with competition, but there was obviously an issue with market saturation and market maturity, and the company had to innovate to continue growing the market. More recently, with the launch of PlayOjo, we launched into two of the most competitive markets in the world, in the UK and Sweden. We had to innovate. We had to reinvent our business model, and in a way revolutionize the industry. So It's got nothing to do really with regulation. Regulation was there in the first instance, in our case. And in PokerStars' case, in some markets there was regulation, in some markets there wasn't, but the need to innovate came from basically the characteristics of the market and what operators needed to do to continue growing their business. Mm-hmm. Now in Sweden, what will happen, at least what I believe will happen, is a unique situation because it's regulation, probably for the first time, of a very mature market, a market that has really gone through the growth phase already, but with regulation and increased pressure on bottom lines because of taxation, there will need to be a further degree of innovation because of taxation, because of most likely increased level of competition, because we're going to have new entrants into the market that will require operators to be sharper, to innovate, not just on a product level, but also on a marketing level, very importantly.
Yeah. Philip, what do you think, when it comes to what would clearly appear to be the enthusiasm on the part of Swedish and Nordic consumers for casino gaming, what factors do you think play into that? Why is it that casino is quite so popular in Sweden, perhaps more so even than sports betting, which might have been the case in other countries?
Yeah, as I said earlier, I think it's something that a lot of Swedish people were brought up with. We have a lot of entertainment, even when it comes to horse racing, when it comes to slot machines in bars, and they were introduced early in Sweden. And the fact that a lot of those things are removed, like entertainment, like blackjack and slot games in local bars and restaurants all over Sweden are removed successfully, means that customers have to go online. And that just aids to that. It's a natural factor of the fact that they remove live games, live entertainment, like that. So that's what it is.
Yeah. Okay. When it comes to innovation in the affiliate space, and I know there are quite a number of operators in Sweden who make quite a lot of gamification and personalisation. I'm thinking particularly of like people like Casumo and Hero Gaming, for instance. With their Casino Hero site and Betsa also. When it comes to the affiliate space, is there a similar spirit, do you think, of innovation in terms of what they're doing, firstly? And second of all, is there a way that you feel that they can more readily leverage the innovation that's taken place in terms of the gaming sites, and try and use that to attract more players? Elaine, perhaps if you...
I think in terms of affiliates, not everybody's kind of caught up with the level of innovation that we're seeing in gamification in slots so far. In terms of like SEO, it's not something that players are necessarily searching for. I think it's up to the affiliate to educate the players, to show them what they're looking for in these more softer games, because nowadays with like Casino Room, Casumo, as you mentioned, they're offering more like a softer side of game. So they're not looking for things such as 100% bonuses or up to 2,000 euros. So I think for affiliates to kind of cater for these players, they need to offer smaller bonuses or no bonuses at all for the more casual player.
Mm-hmm. Philip, what do you think of the opportunities are for affiliates?
Yeah, I think it is, well, as everybody knows, the Swedish market is a great opportunity, but as Elaine said, it's much up to the affiliate to educate, and although operators play a big role in that, and video slots, we focus a lot on innovation, and that's one of the factors why video slots is very successful, because innovation plays such a big role. And it not only depends on the affiliates and the operators, but also third-party providers. So it's It's a joint thing. And then when they provide different material and different innovations, that makes it more easy for the affiliate, but it is up to the affiliate to present this to the players.
Yeah, I don't think the affiliates are necessarily innovating their sites in terms of gamification themselves, but I think it's more promoting it rather than doing it themselves.
But could they do that, do you think? Is that something that they could get involved in? Is there a way that they can make their own sites more engaging in order to potentially direct traffic towards more engaging casino sites?
I mean...
Yeah, I mean, obviously they can. And it's a good opportunity for them to do so, because when as casinos focus more and more on innovation and they become more interesting to players, that's easier for affiliates to promote. And the casinos that do the best innovations, the best product, that's interesting to affiliates. They can promote it better, but it's not so much for affiliates to be very innovative. They can, of course, but they can promote the brands that are innovative and the brands that are very prone to do so.
I think when the user's looking, seeking out a casino or a particular game or payment method or whatever, that's their end goal, not the affiliate site. So I don't think there's a need for an affiliate at the moment that I can see to have to collect points or experience points levels up. I mean, that's not what they're there for. They're there to fulfill a need to take them to the next step.
Go ahead.
Maybe just to summarize, I agree with most of what my colleagues have said, but the marketing strategy is going to change. We know that there's no bonuses. If you go to affiliate sites today, it's pretty much a long list of casinos. This gives 200%, this gives 500%, 200 free spins, 300 free spins. And that's pretty much, in many cases, this plus a review side that, to be honest, in some cases even lazy. That's what affiliates do. And I think affiliates will need to raise their game. They will need to raise their game because that's not going to be there anymore. They won't be able to just list casinos based on basically how big the bonus is, because the bonus is not going to exist. They will really need to understand what brands offer differently from one to the other. And it's not always about value proposition. It can be about many other things, but those kind of things takes a little bit of efforts to go, to understand, to play yourself, to talk to your affiliate, to your counterpart at the casino operator, the affiliate manager on that side, and together work and do a better job, frankly, than being done today, not just in Sweden, but overall, to educate players, to tell them about how they can get more out of their play that is not necessarily always involving a bonus.
Yeah. I mean, I have to confess I don't know an awful lot about, nothing about SEO. But watching the panel earlier, the discussion was about the quality of UX would eventually count more than links or any of the other bits and pieces. Forgive me for not understanding exactly what they were talking about, but certainly the quality of the UX in betting sites. There were a lot of mentions of Better Collective and their sites, and in betting sites there seems to be quite an emphasis on producing quality content that will engage the customers. Is there that same focus in casino? Can that be a focus in casino?
It has to be. It's more difficult from a content point of view. It's more difficult for casinos because it's not as easy to churn content as it is in sports, because obviously there's less maybe to talk about. But we know from talking to Google, if we're talking about SEO, I mean bounce rate and engagement rates, all of these kind of things. Also with Facebook, to be honest, they have a lot of impact in how those sites basically rank you, in how they favor your advertisement. It's going to be really relevant also in the Swedish market once paid for marketing becomes available next year. So absolutely, both for affiliate and for operators, moving on to the next level of engaging content, sticky sites. Part of it is UX, part of it is content. Will have a big impact.
Mm-hmm. In terms of the Swedish regulation and what you're saying there is, things are going to have to change, and maybe the Swedish regulation will have some impact on that in terms of what it might mean for operators specifically, but then again also for affiliates. What kind of innovations do you think you're going to see on operator sites, Ohad, that you think will then feed through to what affiliates will be able to promote?
I'll start maybe with the necessities, maybe the less exciting stuff. I mean, there will have to be innovation around KYC, AML, responsible gambling, because that's going to come as a requirement we already know from the regulator. And we can look at the UK market, and that's exactly what's happening in the UK market, whether it's enforced by the regulator or it's because brands and operators are becoming more mature and they know that they need to protect their customers as part of providing them with the best experience. So there will have to be product innovation around that in terms of the systems and the technologies that operators are using to protect their customers. I believe that on the marketing side, there will have to be a lot of innovation in creating brands that stand out. So again, it's not just a brand that gives a bigger bonus or has a different color or has a more well-known ambassador. I'm talking about real promises. The vision, the DNA of the brand will need to be different, so people will trust the brand. And again, we know that that's a big issue in the casino industry, lack of trust. And things that will stick and will grow with the operator and with the brand as the market matures. And maybe lastly, and again, that's from my own experience, launching PlayOrder in Sweden literally 3 months ago and spending a lot of money on above-the-line marketing, particularly on TV. I think the TV market, the way that media is bought and optimized in Sweden is years behind the UK. And I think that once the market opens up for more TV channels, and not just TV, but also other digital channels, operators will have to buy and optimize their media more intelligently to make sure that they reduce CPAs, because the CPAs that we're seeing today in the Swedish market are high, again compared to definitely the UK. And with 18% tax on revenues, operators will need to find some savings, and one of those savings will have to come from marketing smarter, more efficient way to plan, buy, and optimize marketing.
I have interest, and this is slightly off the topic, but when you mentioned marketing spend, and I know that many of the larger operators that are currently dominating the scene, Leo Vegas is probably the most obvious example, has been spending an awful lot of money on marketing as a percentage of revenue. Is that going to be, do you think we'll see more of that in the next year or 2 years as people try to attempt to establish market position, so that as much as there'll be a focus on the product and innovation, will there also be a focus on the marketing spend? I mean, Philip, do you think that will you be spending a lot more in the next 2 years?
Yeah, I think obviously making a great product is one part of being successful, but you need to bring it out there, and you need to let people know what you're doing, and you do that through marketing. So marketing is very important, and I think it will be even more important in the future.
Elaine, yeah.
I think as Sweden regulates, as you mentioned, you'll see the big name players spending more and more to almost assert their dominance in the market and stuff. I mean, every day there's more hundreds of thousands of people turning 18 that they're new customers turning every day, right? So you need to get out there, get your brand in there, and get a foothold in the marketplace. And
I assume that the proposed regulation with regard to only first-time player bonusing will play into that presumably as well. How will that kind of regulation, that's very specific regulation, how do you think that will affect how you go about the business with your products and your marketing attempts? What will it do for you?
Yeah, it will change the market in a big way, and yeah, of course, if you can't spend money and effort into giving it more than one bonus, you have to do it in other ways, and that can be a number of different ways. And you know, everything is not only about bonuses. A lot of affiliates focus a lot on the biggest bonuses, and they make grand lists of bonuses, 200% up to whatever, a lot of free spins, but it's not only going to be about that, it'll be about innovation and you know, making your brand stand out. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Like, for example, at Ninja Casino, we don't have a welcome bonus. But we've been hugely successful without that, which reflects kind of what Scott's saying.
Could you also explain, actually, Elaine, while you're there, about the pay and play method that you've got on Ninja Casino, because that seems quite an innovation in of itself.
Sure. So for anybody that doesn't know, Ninja Casino has no account registration, so we don't take any personal details of email addresses, phone numbers and anything. You basically go to the site, click deposit through Trustly using your bank ID, and hopefully win, and then you can withdraw within 5 minutes straight to your bank account.
Mm-hmm. How does that? What kind of reaction have you had from affiliates to that?
And I started 6 months ago, and I initially had the same kind of thoughts as affiliates had, that, oh, you don't have any bonus, it's going to be maybe difficult to promote you and stuff. But over time, we've really seen that it's been. We're not like sure why, but it really works. Like we're attracting a more sort of serious type of player. You know, if anybody that's a casino player, you genuinely maybe skip the bonus because you know you're going to be tied into 4 times wagering or something like that. So as a casino player myself, I generally skip the bonus, and we're seeing this in our players. We're seeing a very good player value as well. Without the bonus, it's proven very popular for us.
Yeah.
So you know, I can concur with what you said. I mean, from a different point of view, I mean, we play Ojo, we don't do bonuses because we don't believe in wagering requirements, and we don't believe in restrictive terms that hinder the experience that players have. And you know, we had the same level of concerns when we launched. People said affiliates, and others said players are not going to convert unless you give them X bonus. And we're actually seeing much better conversion rate than I personally seen in other businesses that I managed. And from what I know, one of the highest conversion rates in the industry. And that's because, as you said, a lot of players don't like bonuses. They skip those bonuses because they know that they come with restrictions, and they're very happy to choose a casino that rewards them in a different way. We still will give them the free spins and other incentives, but they will not come with terms and conditions that they will never read and find out when they want to withdraw that for whatever reason they can't withdraw. So. And by the way, we're also seeing in the UK a lot of pressure from the regulator, from CMA, for operators to move and become much more transparent and fair, and therefore at least abolish the wagering requirements. In Sweden, it's starting from day one, no bonuses. I actually think it's good for the industry. It will make us as operator have to think harder and be more creative around what we're doing, and not just throw money out in there and hoping that, you know, that's what's going to acquire and retain players. Branding, marketing, UX, innovation, and value proposition that doesn't always need to be tied into bonuses will play a big part. And I'm sure that operators will find ways around that, as we've always done in this industry for many, many years. There's always creative ways around restrictions.
Is there anybody in the audience, if you've got any questions, now's the time to ask. I've got one last question, and I suppose it's about what's going to happen. I think my mic has gone. Oh, that's it. Okay. One last question is about you've got the new tax regime in Sweden, and we've mentioned that Sweden is like a hotbed of innovation. There's a lot of people working on games and also affiliate sites within Sweden and Stockholm. Once the tax is imposed, do you imagine that there'll be like an exodus from Malta back to Sweden of talent in that sense? Are you expecting a hotbed of innovation within Sweden to emerge again? Philip? Elaine?
Sorry, did you? No. I think with Malta as well, it also brings up another subject that I could talk at length at, but the economy as well. For example, the rent prices are increasing hugely in the last few years. I think that coupled with people moving, I think that's one of the reasons that people may choose to move back to Sweden as well. Just Malta in general. I won't go on a rant about Malta, but yeah, I think in a couple of years you'll see a lot of people working remotely. Definitely.
Remarketing from Sweden or back to Sweden?
Either.
You've got an office in Sweden. You were saying
we don't have an office in Sweden, but we have a small office in Malta. And I personally always believe that when you operate in a market, you need to have boots on the ground, so to speak, and particularly when market regulates and it becomes above the board, and you can be very transparent about what you do, how you're doing things. Then we will definitely look to have representation, a bigger representation in the Swedish market. I'm by no means an expert about Malta. I just know that a lot of Swedish people like the weather there, and that's probably not going to change because it's not going to become colder and it's not going to become warmer in Sweden.
I totally agree with what you two have said, and I think if there is an opportunity for employees in Malta, and in particular Swedish employees, and they can move back to Sweden, I think a lot of people will, for a lot of different reasons. But if there is an opportunity and you can, I think there will be plenty of people moving back.
Okay, it's been a long day for everyone. Thank you very much, first of all, to Philip, to Elaine, and to Ohad. And that has been an affiliate, Nordic Affiliate Conference. I don't know whether...
Announcements. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, panel. So, the good news, we've got networking drinks next door from 4:30, which is now, till 5:30 for an hour. Then after that, no, the fun does not stop. At 6 o'clock, we have drinks at a bar called Papa Bird, and everyone is invited. It's been my pleasure to host the Nordic Affiliate Conference. If you weren't here before, my name is Michael Caselli, and if there's anything I can do, just grab me at the cocktails. See you there.